into our body, let go of any thoughts that we might have woken up this morning. Even sometimes in the morning, we start thinking about things that happened the day before or maybe last week. We don't need those things. They've already happened. We can't really do anything about them. And then, of course, there's anything that's going on later today, maybe during later on the week. And again, that's something that we don't need right now either. We just need to be where we are in the present moment. Things will happen. We can plan, yes. There's not, like I'm saying, we can't plan, but there is a time for the mind to need to be in the present moment just to make sure we all know how we are feeling. A lot of the time during our busy days, we start to forget about how we're feeling in our body until our bodies actually tell us that there's something going on. And we never want to get to the point where that happens. We want to get to the point where we start to realize that the body needs something and we start to accept it and then change our behaviors to allow the body to get what it needs. So once we've found a comfortable position on our back, I personally like to bend my knees and have them touch and walk the feet out a little bit. That just supports the back a little bit more. Anyone who's dealing with lower back issues, and that we don't want to do a back bend. We don't want to necessarily curl up into a crunch. We want a neutral spine. So that's where your pelvis is just attached to the mat and your shoulders are naturally relaxed against the ground. And you've got a little bit of a space in between your body and the floor, right at that thoracic or right at that lumbar curve. And then we just going to take those shoulders and just let them separate, let them fall away. If your eyes are open and you're comfortable and you want to go ahead and close them, feel free to do that. And then just take a notice how your hands feel. Maybe roll those wrists around a couple of times and just see if you've got any tightness there. Maybe wiggle those fingers even. Sometimes wiggling those fingers feels really good. Sometimes making a ball, then releasing them out just to see if we have any stiffness in those joints. And then once we've done that a couple of times, we can just let those hands relax back down. Palms up, palms down. It's a very personal choice. Then once we've done that, we can allow our feet to just wiggle those toes. Maybe we pull them up and we're riding on our heels, and then we can put our toes down and just lift our ankles or lift our heels up. So rocking onto the heels and then rocking onto the balls of the feet. Maybe just wiggling those feet. If your legs are outstretched, maybe we're doing rotations at the ankle. We're just starting to see how the feet feel. And again, sometimes we have a lot of tension in the little tiny manipulations of those joints. Fingers and toes have a lot of manipulations in those individual joints. And then once we've decided how our hands and our feet feel, let's just gently rock our head side to side. Just a little rock. Just notice how the shoulders and the neck connection happens. Maybe you're rocking on your occipital ridge, which is the base of your skull. So maybe it feels good. Maybe we notice we don't have so much range of motion on one side versus the other. It doesn't have to be a fast rock. And if it feels good to stay on the side a little bit longer because you're getting just a gentle stretch, feel free to stay a little bit. Then once we've noticed how our neck feels, how our shoulders have connected into the neck muscles that help turn the head side to side, maybe we notice the range of motion. We're just going to stop the head movement. Now we're going to focus in on our breath. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and let that air escape in a big inhale deeply. Try and fill up the entire lungs. And then when you're at the top, exhale it in a big nice big forceful exhale. Let's do that two more times. Big inhale. Big forceful exhale. One more time. Big inhale. Big forceful exhale. Now that we've done some forceful exhales, just try and relax the shoulders, because as soon as we start to engage the muscles of our core to try and expel the air really harsh, then we start to cramp up other muscles. We start to engage other muscles. So just go back to the relaxation. And in this case, we're not going to take the big exhale out. We're going to inhale deeply. And as slow as we can, we're going to exhale, possibly through the nose. If nose breathing isn't for you, put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and make a hissing sound as you exhale. That'll help slow you down. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in, big inhale through the nose if possible. And slowly exhale through the nose, or if you're with me, tongue to the roof of your mouth and Let's do that a few times. Big inhale, your own perfect pace. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Once you're at the peak, that's when you start to slowly let the air out, either through the nose or hissing. Inhale. One more time. Inhaling, exhales. Anytime you want to come back to your mat and just focus in on your breath, any type of breathing, but some of the best ways to do it is just to allow your breath on the exhale to be a little longer than the breath on the inhale, really starting to just relax out those muscles and really become aware of how we feel right now in this moment. If your legs happen to be outstretched, let's go ahead and bring one heel to the body, followed by the other one. And then just take your hands out and make them into cactus arms. If you have a lot of room around you, just spread those arms all the way out. Relax the jaw, relax the eyes. And then I just want you to take your knees and drop them to the front or to where you're looking at the screen. Your knees don't have to touch the ground. I just want you to let them drop to the one side. Take a big inhale, bring them all the way back, and then exhale, go to the other side. So again, we're just starting to manipulate internal and external rotation from the hips and a little bit of movement for the lower part of your spine. So again, one breath, one movement. Inhale to come up, exhale to lower down, inhale to come up, and exhale to lower down. So we've got the lower part of our body starting to do a little gentle twist. If you would like to add in the upper part of the body, when your knees drop behind or to the back, look to the front. So you're looking opposite. And then come back in through the center, neutral spine, and then exhale, let the knees drop one way and look to the other side. Big inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, twist. So again, we did a little rock side to side with our head earlier when we were just no movement of the lower part of the body. So just notice as we're rocking side to side, if it feels any different now that we have our pelvis starting to move with an internal and external rotation through the femur into the hip socket. We'll do that one more time each way. Just noticing again how our lower back feels connected to the ground, a nice neutral spine, not crunching, not depressing. And then we're going to be back into lying on our backs. Let's go ahead and reach for our front knee and just pull that into the chest. And then give me a couple ankle rotations here, especially if we had our feet on the floor earlier. We're just doing a couple nice rotations here and then change it the other way. Let's lead with our big toe. Think about your big toe drawing circles in the air, and you're trying to get that circle to be as big as you possibly can, leading with that big toe. And then once we've done that, we're going to put that foot down. We're going to grab the other knee and pull that into the chest. Just give it a nice little pull in so you can feel some of the hip movement. And then draw those circles again. Big toe leading the way. Doesn't have to be fast, but if you want to go a little faster, that's fine. Just slow it down again. We're just noticing how that ankle feels. And then changing the direction when we feel satisfied. Nice big circles. And then let's go ahead and put that foot down. Heels are close to the body. Hands come down by your sides. Okay, so it's a nice neutral spine. And we have this little gap that I've been talking about. We're not going to remove the gap. We're just going to elevate our pelvis up a little bit by pressing into the heels to come into bridge pose. Just go ahead and lift up. It's not coming up onto the shoulder blades. You're just lifting up, starting a little squeeze of the glutes into the hamstrings. And then we're going to exhale, lower back down. So inhale, lift the pelvis up. And then exhale, lower the pelvis down. Now, if your feet are flat on the floor, that's perfect. That's what I need. So just inhale, lifting up. The feet are going to stay flat on the floor. as we lower back down. Our next move, we're going to stay up. Keep your feet flat on the floor. It's a nice neutral spine, so we're not elevating high up onto those shoulder blades. And then I just want you to let those knees fall out to the side. My feet are on the floor. Okay, they're not lifting up. I'm not turning out to the sides of the feet. I'm just opening up my knees and then bringing those knees back together and then lowering back down. I'm going to change so that you can see my feet. So hopefully you can see my feet on the floor. We're just going to go ahead and lift up. Separate the knees a little bit. It's not huge. Keep the feet on the floor so you get a little ankle rotation, squeezing of the butt, external rotation from the femur, and then bring it back in and then lower it back down. So we can do this a little bit faster now. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, part the knees, feet flat on the floor. Inhale and exhale, come down. Let's do that 2 more times. Big inhale, lift. Exhale, push the knees away, feet flat on the floor. Bring your knees back together and then lower back down. 1 more time. Inhale, lift. Separate knees, feet flat on the floor, giving the ankle a little bit of work. Bringing the knees back together and then lower back down. If we're comfortable with that position and we're keeping the feet flat on the floor, I want you to stay with that. If you feel comfortable coming up into the neutral spine, seeing if you can lift your front leg just slightly off the floor a little bit, and then rotating the knee out a little bit. It's about like 2 centimeters. Bring it back in and place it back down all the way down. Okay, so feet are flat on the floor. I'm changing my position again so you can see. We're going to inhale, lift the other leg. Just lift the foot up a little bit. You can even keep your toe on the floor. It's a little bit of a balance, or lift the foot off and then just shift a little bit out to the side and then bring it back in. Place the foot firmly down and come back down. So I'll do that again. I'm going to keep my toe down this time. So go ahead and lift up. The heel can lift. And then you might be able to drop that knee out just a little bit more once you feel stable. And again, you don't have to go as far as me. Bring it back in and place your heel, lower your butt down. Inhale, lift up, lift the heel, a little external rotation. Now we're losing a lot more because we're coming into a little bit of a balance. So remember, feet can both be on the floor and you're getting an amazing ability to lift up and use your posterior chain. If you want to go ahead and try it with the foot just elevated slightly, this is the most difficult. It requires the most balance. Bring it back in, place it back down, and lower back down. We'll do the other side. Inhale, lifting up. Maybe you keep the feet on the floor. Maybe you have your toe down. Maybe you have your foot up. You're coming out to the side. You're bringing it back in, and you're placing it back down. Roll down. Pull one knee into the chest, followed by the other, and give yourself a little hug here. That's a lot of work for the glutes and the hamstrings, and a little bit of balancing if you chose one of the options with the heel lifted. Maybe a little rock side to side if it feels good on your spine, right? So you know your spine. If it feels good to go a little side to side, go ahead and do that. Now that we've really woken up the posterior part of our body, let's roll over onto one of our sides. Come to a nice seated position. However you want to get there, take your time. And I like sitting on a block, okay? So if you want to sit on a block with me, we're going to be seated for a little bit. A pillow, a rolled up towel. If you like the sensation of getting a little lift behind you, there's a few things I like about this. It allows your hips to come a little bit more forward, especially if we have the tightness in there. And then once we sit up nice and tall, it allows the vertebrae to stack one on top of each other so that we can sit up nice and tall. Now, some of us have no problem sitting up tall without a block. We can just sit right on our glutes. But again, I like the little lift. It just reminds me to sit up nice and tall. And once we've sat up nice and tall, we can take the shoulders up, pull them back and down. Okay. So now we're in this nice neutral position. A lot of the times our neutral position is a little bit elevated just because of the nature of how we sit. If you've ever held a book, if you've ever been on a laptop, if you've ever held your handheld device in your hand, if you've ever sat in a chair, we're mostly like this. So a neutral spine will be stacked, probably have a little bit more of an elevation. We are going to get into elevation and depression though. So what I would like you to do is really exaggerate your elevation. So go ahead and pull your ears, your shoulders right up to your ears. Okay, so it's like a big squish here. And now we're going to really actively depress down. So really pull them away. Nice. Okay, so it's just up and down. So inhale, rise all the way up, and exhale all the way down. We'll do that 2 more times. Big inhalation for elevation. Exhale, let it come down. 1 more time. Big inhale, elevate. And exhale, depress. So depression means we're really actively keeping those shoulders away from the ears. What I want you to do is go back to the neutral. Okay. So now that we've got this neutral, we're going to go and protract. Bring your shoulder blades, like you want your shoulders to squeeze together and cave in your chest. Okay. So we're sitting up still nice and tall, and we're just trying to depress the chest. And then we're going to take the shoulders back. We're going to retract them so that your shoulder blades are trying to squeeze towards your spine. Okay. So go ahead and protract the shoulders forward. Hands can be on your thighs. They can be hanging out, whatever you want. And then inhale to retract. Exhale, protract, cave. Inhale, retract. 1 more time. Protraction, and then retraction. So that's everything for a circle movement. So let's go ahead and try and put that together. Elevate, protract, come forward, depress down, and then retract. Elevate, protract, depress, retract. Inhale to come up, exhale to come down. 2 more times this way. Inhale up. Exhale, come down. 1 more time. Inhale, come up. And exhale, come down. We're going to go the other way. So I need you to elevate. You're going to retract. You're going to depress. And then you're going to protract. Okay. So we're just drawing the circle the other way. So pull back, slide down. This movement is so important for the shoulders. Okay, we want to always have lots of mobility in the shoulders. They are one of the ball and socket, one of 2 ball and sockets, and they have the most range of motion. Our hips have a lot, our shoulders have a lot more. They have a lot more connective tissues that we have to make sure stay nice and supple. All right, so now that we've gotten elevation, depression, protract, retract, I'm going to get you to play with your brain. So now we've got the movements. Your brain knows what's going to happen. We're going to play a little bit with this one. Elevate both of your shoulders. Okay. Now, your left shoulder, you're going to protract it, bring it to the front. And then your right shoulder, you're going to bring it to the back. We're going to depress both of them. So bring them both down in this position. One's forward, one's back. We're going to switch in the depressed position. So switch your shoulder blades, keep them depressed, and just switch. And then elevate them both up to your ears. Okay. But there's still one forward, one back. Okay. We're going to switch it, elevate it, switch, one forward, one back. Depress, switch in the depression, and then elevate up. How are we doing? So we're going to switch in elevation, bring it down to depression, switch in depression, and then elevate. 1 more time. Switch, depress, switch, elevate. Now all we're going to do is turn this into a circle, and your brain is just going to go, what? Okay, so instead of doing 4 points, elevate, switch, depress, switch, we're just going to elevate, circle 1 forward, both come down, and then circle both up. Okay, then your brain is like, what? So come down, both are down. Yeah, some of you have got it. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to swim. We're going to have one of these shoulders going like this. We don't want that. Both up, switch, both down, both come up. Yes, I know, right? So we're going down, switch, up. 1 more time, down, switch, up. We're both up, 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 up. Let's switch and go the other way. Come down, and then switch in the depression, elevate, come down, switch in the depression, elevate, switch, down. Now it's nice big circles. It's a nice smooth movement. 1 more time, elevate, switch, depress, shake it out. All right, so those shoulders should feel really good now. If we're sitting on a block, totally fine. Okay, we can still continue to sit on the block. If anyone wants to remove that block, Again, also, I have, this is a window, this is my patio door, so I cannot lean against this. If you have support that you would like to lean against in any part of the class, you can as well, especially when we're going to get into a little the hip stuff. Don't worry about that now. I'm going to give you lots of options, but I'm just going to let you know that I don't lean against this because it's just a light covering over top of the patio door. So we're sitting up nice and tall. We're going to inhale our hands all the way up into that lung expansion. Look up to the ceiling, and then exhale, bring the chin to your chest as you come down. So a little bit more head work. This way, we're just rising up, cervical spine, and exhale, come back down. 2 more times, big inhale, rise. When our brain was working on our shoulders, we probably thought nothing about our breath. So now we're getting right back into it. Big inhale, rise up. Keep your hands up. And we're going to take the right hand and start to do a little circle with the wrist. Okay, so now we're getting into wrists. And then I want you to circle all the way down out to the side. Bring that hand down. We have a nice neutral spine. We're sitting up nice and tall. Change the direction and sweep it all the way up. Big, 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 big circles. Bring it all the way up. So now we're working these shoulders. Left hand, give me a circle one way and bring it all the way down, keeping the spine nice and tall. Circle, circle, circle. And then switch the direction, circle all the way up. If your arms start to get tired, take a break. If you're good, let's go for the right side again. Circle one way, coming down. Let's add a little tip. So just let the left arm come over as you stretch out the left side, and then change the rotation of the right hand and bring the right hand back up. Sit vertebrae stacked on vertebrae. And then we start with the left hand. We go ahead and come down out to the side. We give a little bit of a bend, switching the wrist as you come back up and using your core to come all the way back up. Now, if we're good and our hands are not tired yet, sweep them both. Okay, both hands are going. We're going to bend over to the right side. Brace your core. It's just a little lean. And then we're going to sweep the hands the other way and go to the left side. I'm starting to get tired. I don't know about anybody else. We're going to do that one more time. Add the breath in. Switch the hands. Inhale all the way up to center. Exhale over to the right side. Switch the hands. Inhale all the way up. And then exhale to the other side. Switch the hands. Come all the way back up. And then wiggle those hands down as they come down in front of you. Shake it out. All right, so shoulders and wrists, we're good. Okay, so I'm starting to feel a little bit burn in the biceps even too. So give it a couple of shakes, grab some water if you need to. I think I'll grab a little bit of water and then we'll move on. We are going to come back to elevation, depression, protraction, and retraction a little later in the class. So we won't forget all of that work that we did. But we are going to let our arms have a little bit of a break here. And we're going to remove the block if we're sitting on the block. Go ahead and bring your feet out in front of you. And we're going to take our hands and just lightly put them behind. Now, if you have any wrist issues, especially because we were doing a lot of those rotations and that, and you want to use a towel behind you to put your hands on so that your fingertips are a little bit lower than your wrists, you can roll up your mat, whatever makes sense for you for your wrists. You can even use the blocks. I find they're a little high, but some people, depending on the shape of your arms, the length of your arms, you might be able to lean back, bend the elbows, and hold onto your blocks. So again, my arms are very long compared to my torso. I have a short torso. My sister has a very long torso. We cannot share any kind of clothing that requires us to have a waist differential because my pants don't fit her and she can't fit into mine just simply because her waist is a lot further down than mine. So again, we're talking about differences in bodies. So we're just putting back our hands. Fingertips can point to you or maybe slightly out to the side. I'm not worried about that part. I just want you to be comfortable leaning back in a neutral spine, okay? So we're not curved in and we're trying not to look at the sky. We just want to be lying back as if we're on a nice beach and we're just looking out into the ocean, relaxing, okay? Now that we've got that, the feet are on the floor, let's go ahead and drop the knees a little over to the right side, okay? And inhale, come up. I'm a mirror person, so if you're wondering what is going on, I face my classes all the time. And so this is your left. It happens to be my right. So if you're one of those ones going, why is she saying that? It's just because I'm a mirror instructor. So we're going to inhale all the way up. Exhale over. You're keeping your chest open. This is getting some pectoral work, okay? And you're also getting a little bit of massage from the butt. especially if you're on a harder surface like myself. If you got a carpet, it's a little more cushy. It's all good. We're going to drop over to the left side, come back up. We're going to go ahead and drop over to the right side. Lift up your heel on your left foot and then come back down and then lift up your right heel. Make sure you're on just the toes and come back down. Now, if this is enough for you, just make sure you've got that heel lifted as you come down and then heel lifted and then both feet flat on the floor. If you're good to go ahead and lift and maybe extend the leg a little bit, good. And then come back in, put the toes down, swivel over, and then see if it wants to do it on this side. Go ahead and extend out this way, and then bring it back down. Again, if it becomes too much for shoulder, back, or extension of the leg is not for you today, then just lift the heel, okay? One more time, go ahead and out. Now, if you're here and you can come over and both of your feet are on the floor and that heel is lifted, you can extend the leg out. And then you can also see if you can lift that left hand off. Oof. There we go. Okay. And if not, then we have the option of keeping both feet on the floor and then just doing the same thing with the toe lift, or we just make sure that we have our chest lifted and we continue back with the first movement. We can go on to the other side. Check it out here. We can keep both of our feet on the floor. If we feel more comfortable with both feet on the floor and wrist is okay on this side, you can lift up here, trying to lift up. You can also extend the foot out and lift up, a little bit more balance, and then bring it back down. Okay, so there's the choices here. We come over and we just do side to side because you're still getting a lot of work here as long as you keep your chest open. You can just elevate the foot or you can elevate foot and hand and then come back down and just add in the breath. Inhale and exhale. So we're getting a little bit of balancing on the butt cheek. If you're lifting your hand up, you're getting a little bit of side oblique work and you're getting a little massage for the glutes. Lifting up, coming back down. We'll do one more on each side. You can be a little slower, faster. Remember, you're just going at your own pace, seeing how your body is reacting to this, working those shoulders, working the butts, and then coming back in and having a seat. Okay. Now sit cross-legged however you want to. Just relax out of this one for a second. Roll the shoulders back and down. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. One more time, big inhale. And exhale, let it go. All right. So we've done a few things that we were on our hips for, going side to side. We're going to extend those legs out completely. And again, if we want a block, we can use the block for stability by our hands. Okay. So you can hold on and prop yourselves up, okay, to sit up nice and tall. This is where if you have something to lean against, you might be able to come back and lean against something if you have a couch or anything there. And if this is a little too much, all I want you to do is practice sitting up nice and tall with the legs straight, okay? Because this is starting to work your abdominals and sitting up straight with your hamstrings elongated, okay? Once we've got our hands either on blocks, on the floor, we have our shoulders back and down, we're just going to take the left foot. You can walk those feet out a little bit wider. I'm going to do that just a little bit wider because then we're just going to take the foot and rotate it so that the toes, hopefully slide back so everyone can see my feet, and they can be slightly out. You can go a little wider. It doesn't really matter how wide you are, but we just want to keep the spine nice and tall. And we're just going to turn the toe inward. So you get an internal rotation. You feel it mostly from the femur into the hip socket, a little bit of a turn at the knee and a little bit at the ankle, okay? And then we're going to come all the way up. We're going to do it again. Exhale, twist in, and inhale, sit up nice and tall. So part of it is sitting up nice and tall, right? So turn in and come back up. One more time, turn in and come back up. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with the left foot. Just let it drop out. So it's an external rotation. So just let the foot go, yep. And then come back up. And then let it fall out. Come back up. We're making sure we're not caving in. So we're sitting up nice and tall. Turn it out. Come back up. One more time. Turn it out and come back up. We're going to do both ways. So go inward, internal, and then external. Internal and external. Two more times. Internal external, last one, internal, and external. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to point the toe flat, and then we're going to come up so that we have a little gap, if we can, underneath our heel, and we're on our calf. Okay, so if you need a little bit of cushioning, this is a block, but if you want to take a little bit like that and put it underneath your knee so that you have elevation here so that the foot can flex and point, go ahead and do that. Okay, I have rather large calves, so they allow me, when I flex and use my quad here, I can actually get my heel off the floor without having to worry about a lift. If you're designed where your calves aren't as pronounced in the back, then you might need that little extra. Okay, so we're just pointing and flexing. Point and flex. Really engage that quad. So you really want to point as if something needs to be pushed with your toe, and then you're sweeping it almost like you're drawing a line up to the ceiling and pulling your toes in towards your knee. So point and flex. Sit up tall and flex. 2 more times. Point and flex. Last time, point and flex. Drop into an internal rotation. Point your toe, circle out to external rotation, and pull into a dorsiflexion. Turn, point, side, come up, sit up tall. Turn, point, side, dorsiflex. One more time, out, internal rotation, point, external rotation, and dorsiflexion. Relax. Give that leg a little shake out here. You might want to lean forward. So again, hoping that you got some of the quad engagement. Okay, so this is what we were looking for, the quad engagement, using your shin. So you've heard of shin splits and stuff like that. And usually runners or people get that when you walk on sand for a long time or in the snow for a long time, the front of the shin starts to feel it. It's because of all those muscles from the front of your foot gets worked out, and it pulls on some of the muscles in here. We have a lot of calf work. We'll worry about that one. But then there's internal and external rotation. All of the joints, your hip, your knee, and your ankle all have to work together. If they're not working together to balance you when you're standing, you're starting to put pressure on joints unequally, and that's when you start to feel some of the pain. If you have a pain in this ankle, it often travels up to the opposite knee, to this hip, to this shoulder. It's just compensation when something isn't working all together in the right mechanics. All right, so let's sit up nice and tall again. We're going to do everything on the other side. We all know what's happening. So again, just make yourself comfortable as long as your shoulders are stacked right over your hips and you've got some kind of core engagement. And we are going to allow those feet to just be out, maybe just slightly wider than the hips. Point your toe on the right foot and internally rotate it. The first one is always feeling awkward, and then come back up. So point the toe as much as you can to the ceiling and just turn it in and then bring it back up. 2 more times. Exhale, turn in. Just see how that feels. If you're feeling it more in the hip, maybe you're feeling it more in the knee, maybe you're feeling it more in the ankle. Okay. It's up to you where your body feels this one. I feel it mostly in my hips because my hips are a little tight today. Now that we've done that, let's go and externally rotate it. External rotation, we usually have a lot more range of motion. Bring it back up, sit up nice and tall. Go ahead and turn out. Bring it back in. 2 more times, turn it out. Bring it back in, the breath. Exhale and inhale. If we need the support underneath our calf, go ahead and put it there now. If you can lift your ankle off by really squeezing that quad and you're on the calf, you can go ahead and point the toe and then dorsiflex. Sit up nice and tall. If you want even more of a challenge, if any of you remember I Dream of Jeannie, you can do the Jeannie hands where you're holding them up, and that's really going to work yourself a lot. Okay, so anytime you need to put those hands back down, you can. So inhale and exhale. One more time, inhale, point the toe, internally rotate, dorsiflex, then externally rotate, and we're drawing those big circles. Engage the quad, sit up tall, and then push your hands away from you if you're doing the I Dream of Jeannie hands, okay? So down, in, up, around. You make this as tough as you want to, as long as you're pointing the toe, engaging your quad and your calf and the top of your foot. We're going to rotate the other way. So internally rotate. Go ahead, point the toe, externally rotate, dorsiflexion. 3 more points. Sit up tall Reach from the crown of your head to the ceiling as the toe is going, as we're breathing. So many things going on in the body. We have no time to think about anything else. And then release it. Give it a little shake, shake. All right. Go ahead and remove anything that you have around you. And we're going to go ahead and come into a back. So we're just going to lie on our backs again. And if you have a strap or a towel, you might want to use this because we are going to continue with the hip movements. So we're just coming down. Take your time, no rush at all, to come down onto your back. And just notice, remember, we had done all the work with those wrists. We've just done the same kind of work with the ankles. We did elevation, depression, protraction, retraction of the shoulders. And then we started to move through the hips in internal and external rotation. We can take that strap or towel and go ahead and hook it onto the foot. So the first one, we're going to start with it. Okay. And once we've got our strap supporting the ball of your foot. Okay. So I don't like to go into the arch. I like to keep it at the ball of the foot here. Okay. So that way you get a little bit more ability to press on those toes to get that dorsiflexion. Okay. And then if you're fine without using a strap or a towel and you're on your back and you're able to elevate that foot into the air, give me a little bit of a bend, whichever knee happens to be the one that you're using right now, just a little bit of a bend and foot flat on the floor in the other one. Now that knee of the foot that's flat on the floor, that isn't extended in the air, I want that knee to continue facing up. What's going to happen is your other knee is going to want to fall out to the side to compensate for anything that we're doing in the knee in the air. So that requires you to brace your core, neutral spine. Again, we're not pushing in, we're not pressing up. We're engaging the core isometrically so that your back extensors have to work with your rectus abdominis muscles, okay? So we've got our hands on our strap, and we're going to pull the knee in, and then we're going to let the knee come out to the side. We're going to kick out, and then we're going to pull it back in. So pull directly in, take the knee out to the side a little bit, and then kick back. So pull the knee into the chest, go out to the side. You're supporting yourself with your strap on the balls of the feet, and that allows you to dorsiflex. So flex the heel, flex the knee, flex the hip. There's 3 flexions here. Keep that flexion now and take it out to the side. Then you're going to release the flexion in each one of these as you kick out. So go ahead, pull in, flex, flex, flex. Take it out to the side, flex, flex, flex. Push out and take a look at the other knee. The other knee isn't wobbling around. So flex, 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 out to the side with the triple flexion. Kick it all the way back out. We'll do it one more time. This hip is supported because your core is locked on. You're just going out and around and kicking back out. Now, if you feel like you can pull in and release the strap or the towel or whatever you might be using and take your hands down by your side, we're going to do the same thing. Flex at the heel, flex at the knee, flex at the hip, and we're going to come around and out and then kick out. Now, this one's going to require you to use a lot more abdominal muscles. We're going to pull in, we're going to come out to the side, and then we're going to kick and now point the toe. If you don't have the strap, okay, come in, point around or flex around, and then point. One more time. Your back knee isn't moving. Looks good. Okay, one more time just for this one. I'm going to check out everyone. Excellent. Okay, if you feel some little clicking in the hip and it's not painful, it's okay. It's usually just muscles going over one another, ligaments and that. If you feel really confident, and again, you don't have to, we're just working the rotation through the hip. A lot of us need a lot of work on those hips to get tight. We can lift up the heel on the other one so you're on the toe. Okay, so again, a little bit more balancing. So heel is lifted. We're going to pull in. We're going to flex. And then everything straightens to a point. Now, the lower you go, the more it has to work those abs and your hip flexor. The higher you stay, it takes a little bit of the pressure off. We don't want that back lifting too much. So flex, flex 3 times, the 3 flexion, the triflexion, come out to the side, and then straighten everything up. 2 more times, pull in, take it out to the side, and point. If you notice that your knee is trying to compensate of the one that should be on the floor, then I don't want you to take this next option. But if you are able to keep that knee stable, you're flexing in all three. Take the other one and just let it hover. Okay, so right now my core is engaged and you're just letting the other foot hover. And then we're going to try and do it from here. Engage through the hands, press down, come out with tri flexion, out to the side, and then point to come up. If that knee is going all over the place, then you want to put the toe back down or the heel. We'll do this a few times. Point. This is a lot of work to stabilize through the pelvis, through the core and the back. It also, you feel that rotation through femur into the hip sockets. And then we're using our lower abdominals to really ground down as we extend that foot out and bring it back in, place it down 1 foot at a time, and then just a gentle side to side rock. So let both knees just go to one side. They don't have to touch the floor. It's just a little wiggle, wiggle here to release the pelvis, lower abdominals, just let everything go. Do we have any questions on this one? Are we okay? You feeling this? Okay, so there's a lot of deep work in here. Lots of options. And the first one is just to prime the joint, okay? So again, I say this in all of my classes. The bodies can do a lot of things. It's just that if we're not prepared to do them and we go right into them, that's where we get tears. This is where we get injuries and stuff like that. But if you prep your body over time, this is the reason why we like to do yoga, is that if you start to get your body used to doing these ones, when your body gets into a situation where your leg slides out or you slip or you need to kick a ball, it comes at you and you're just automatically think, oh, I'm just going to kick the ball. If your body isn't ready for those movements, haven't done them for a while, then you can get those tears. But as we're doing these ones are reminding the body, they're keeping the joints and that supple so that when we go and something happens to us and we do a quick movement, our body is already like, oh, we've done this a million times before. It doesn't get injured. So this is the reason why we practice these things nice and slow with our brain fully engaged with what our body's doing. Hands down at your side, relax your jaw, shake out your head, and then engage your core for a neutral spine. Okay, so we're not pulling down, we're not, rectus abdominis is not the force here. It is just a neutral spine so that your rectus and your erectors in your back are both activating isometrically. Grabbing onto the strap, if we need it for the first one, again, I'm going to do a strap for the first one. And then I'm going to turn to the side to show you how much range of motion you may or may not want, okay? So again, each side is different. You have a dominant side of your body, and I'm hooking up against the balls of the feet, so I have the most ability to push, so I can dorsiflex, and then it's flat on the floor. That knee stays pointed to the ceiling. Pull into your chest, and then you can either have it in both hands or in one hand, whatever works for you. And then with the triflexion, just out to the side. My first one is just a little bit, and then we're going to kick it out. If you can get that point here, a little bit of a point, I'm just going to shift my straps so that I can get it equal, and then pull it back in. 3 flexion. Out to the side, I'm going to go a little bit more, and I'm making sure that that knee doesn't compensate out to the side, and then bring it out, maybe do a little bit of a point here, and then pull it back in. So you're just deciding how much you need to go out to the side. If you have really big rotation through the hip, you can do what I'm doing right now, which is a really big motion, but it's because it's fully supported. Okay, I'm fully supported here. I won't do this big of a motion if I'm not supported, because then that will just hurt my adductors as I'm trying to pull it back in because I'm not prepared for it. What I'm doing is just trying to find my range of motion and see how my hip feels in this circumduction. All right, so if we've done that a few times and we know we want to stay here, we can release the strap. Hands down by your side and just let your shoulders be supportive, okay? We've got that flexion here and we're going to take it out to the side. So again, I'm not going anywhere near as deep. And then we're going to point the toe, come up high, and then pull it in. Okay, so out to the side, triple flexion. And then everything is an extension. And then we do it again. In and out. What about your breath? Exhale to pull in, flex 3 times, out to the side, and then inhale to push that leg away from the body. One more time, pull it in. Go out to the side with the triple flexion, point the toe. This is where the abs have to work and stabilize through the pelvis. If you're feeling good, come up onto the ball of the foot. Okay, so now we've got a little bit more. We're going to pull into the chest, 3 flexion, out to the side, and then point. Now, if you're like, oh, this isn't too bad, lower the foot and see how much it requires you to engage your core. pull in, flex, keep the flex out to the side, and then draw your leg down a little bit more. 2 more times. Exhale to pull in, out to the side, extend everything away from the body. 1 more time, pull it in, out to the side, point the toe. If you want to try this highest one, which is the one that's going to require you to use the most stabilizers, you're just going to float the other foot off the floor. Pull into the triple flexion, out to the side a little bit, make it the smallest one you've got, and then extend it out. 3 of these ones. Exhale as you pull in. Inhale, and the knee that isn't moving has to stay pointed to the ceiling. 2 more. Around, point. Make sure we're not lifting greatly off of the back. We're not coming into any kind of arching of the back. 1 more time. Pull it in. Place 1 foot down. Place the other foot down. And just give it a little rock side to side. Oh, that warmed up my hips quite a bit. How's everyone doing? All right. Go ahead and find yourself in your tabletop. Take your time, grab some water, no rush. Find some support for your knees. I'm going to take my towel myself. I'm on a hardwood floor here. So taking in some water. And making our way into our tabletop. Okay, I'm going to face forward so that you can see me, and I'm going to get rid of my hair here so you can see my shoulders. So let me pop this up. All right. Now, we can do a couple of things here. You can use, if you have more than one towel near you, you can use your towel for your knees. It's a tabletop position, okay? And we're not going into any kind of elevation or cat-cow. We're not going to do cat-cow. We're just taking it into a neutral spine. So this is where your knees would be on here. If you have your mat and you want to roll it up, or if you're on a nice soft carpet, you're good to go. Now, what we're going to be working with is actually our hands, okay? With your hands, you can also use a towel if you need a little bit of support here, because it's not really about the wrist at this point. If your fingers are lower than your wrist joint, it'll remind you to press into those fingertips to take the pressure off of those wrists, okay? If you have a desire to use your blocks so that you can hold onto them and maybe do a little gripping action, that will activate those muscles in the wrist and you can grip onto them. It just depends on how high and how big your blocks are. Okay. And if you're fine with being on the floor with me, then of course that's also amazing. So back, not doing anything, all about the shoulders. Okay. So we're going to just pull the shoulders up to your ears. Okay. So remember, you can, and if you're like, okay, this wrist stuff is, and my knees are just not working today, go back to a seated position, do elevation and depression at any time. Okay. But right now we're just changing the weight of our body by gravity on this position. So we're going to elevate the shoulders and then we're going to depress the shoulders. So we're not moving our up and back. We're not going anywhere here. It's just staying, and you're pulling your shoulders up to your ears and then we're pulling them back down. So inhale to come up and exhale to depress. So it's a shoulder movement. It's not anything like this. It's just pulling down and then rising up. We can do this easily seated, but now we start to confuse ourselves when we're sort of in this tabletop position. I'm going to take a look a couple of times. And again, if you need to, you can sit or kneel, whatever works for you. Excellent. All right. So now that we've done this a few times, we're going to protract and retract. So we're going to, again, it's not about the cat-cow. Cat-cow is this, right? We're not doing that. We're keeping that neutral spine. And then we're going to elevate the shoulders. So you're pushing up your back into a protraction. And then we're going to drop the shoulders down into retraction. Okay, so you're squeezing the shoulder blades together. What we're going to want to do is a cow and a cat. So we're going to try and brace that core and keep it flat. If you are thinking about a block on your back, it shouldn't be going up and down. It shouldn't be wagging around. It's just sitting there. Picture a glass of water, and you're going to drop your shoulder blades in towards one another. And then you're going to push and puff up your shoulder blades by gripping in with those hands. So coming down and then pushing up. Again, if that is like, I really don't get that at all, have a seat and protract and retract. Okay, so it's the same thing, except we're now on hands and knees. Protraction and retraction. So you're just dropping into the chest and then depressing so that the shoulders squeeze together. All right, looks good. Now we're going to put the two together. We're going to elevate. So bring your ears to your shoulders. You're going to drop your chest down. You're going to depress your shoulders, pull them back, and then we're going to pop up. So we're just drawing those big circles, but it's not with the belly. Okay? It's with the shoulder girdles. So take a look. I'm switching side to side so you can see. So again, stable through the core, pulling the shoulders up, dropping down, squeezing and rising up. It is a small motion. It is very difficult to control. It takes a lot of time. It had taken the whole month with my people in Costa Rica to be able to smoothly get into this without using their hips and other parts of their bodies. So don't worry if it's not quite there yet. We're going to change it. So pull your elbow or pull your shoulders right up into your ears and then puff up your spine. Then pull your shoulder blades together in depression and then push through your chest. So pop up and then up and roll down. So it doesn't matter if the other parts of the body have joined the party. Just notice if they have and try and brace your core and give me some of these rotations. A lot of different weight on your body right now because you have your weight on your hands. This is all the movements that we had to learn how to use when we were a child, learning how to walk and crawl. And then as we get older, we just don't do these movements anymore, but they're so important for the shoulders. These help you climb. These help you move around. These help you reach over your head. And then relax. Okay, let's get off these wrists for a second. How are we all doing? Are we okay? Feel the difference between doing it up here and then doing it down there? Okay, so let's roll those wrists. Let's go ahead and interlace those fingers. Press to the front and then pull it back into the chest and then press it to the front. Pull it back into the chest. One more time, press to the front, stretch it out. And then let those fingers interlace. Drop your right wrist and elevate your elbow on the left and then circle it around. Okay, so we're just doing some big circles here, moving those wrists, those fingers, those elbows, those shoulders. And then shake it out. Now, I won't do it today, but in the future, if we were doing a whole session together, we would be able to then eventually be able to get into the elevation and then drop one shoulder and elevate the other one, depress them both, switch and pop up so that you're able to do this rocking and rolling again. And then if you're on your own time and you want to give it a shot, this is what it would look like. Both come up, switch, both come down and switch. It just gets you all confused when you're on your hands. So eventually you can get up to using one shoulder at a time. All right, so let's go ahead and place everything off to the side. Make your way to standing. Let's do a little bit of standing work, a little bit more on the balance. I have a chair beside me. If you have a chair that you would like to use, if you're totally fine balancing, that's amazing too. Feet underneath your hips, shoulders up, back and down, neutral spine. And what I would like you to do is inhale your hands all the way up. Exhale the right hand down as you tip from your side. So it's just a gentle tip here. Inhale, both hands up. And exhale to the other side. So we're feeling these shoulders probably, maybe a little bit of the hips. Inhale up. Exhale, tip. Inhale up. And exhale, tip. Now we did a lot of work for the hips. So inhale up. Take your right hand down, leave your left in the sky. And now bend your right knee and send your left hip out. So you're going to be able to feel that hip open up a little bit more. It's going to give you more of a side stretch through the left side of the body. Stand up by straightening both knees. And then as your left hand dives down, bend your left knee and send your right hip out to the side. Should feel like a deeper stretch, yeah? Inhale all the way up. Bend left or bend right knee when the right side comes down. Inhale up and bend into the left knee as the left hand comes down. We'll do that one more time. Let's go ahead and turn and look at the floor when we come down, then look at the screen so we have a neutral head, and then turn and look down onto the left side, bend the left knee, come all the way up. Let's bring those hands down through the center. Again, if you have a chair or something that you'd like to balance on, you can hold on to it. If you're okay to be on your own, you're just lifting up the the right heel and come onto the left foot. Foot is on the floor. Hopefully you can all see my feet. And we're just going to externally rotate from the hip and connect your ankle to your heel on that side. So you are elevated, and this is already a balance with an external rotation through the left. Inhale your hands all the way up. And then we're going to start the circles. Start the circles with the hands. Draw the circles. So you can see my hands are doing this. Okay, so we're doing this. Yes. Okay, sorry, I'm cut off at the top here. So I want you to see the feet because we got lots of options with the feet. The hands are good. You're just circling them around. Tip over to the right side and keep your left knee pointed to the left wall. And then change the hand direction, come all the way back up and go over and lean to the left side. Press into your left toes. Switch, come all the way up. Again, working all of these muscles. If it's too much with the rotations at the wrist, you don't have to do them, but I really like doing these kind of work. And then come all the way back up and then over to the other side. Bring your hands all the way up, bring them to the heart center, and just relax here. Put your thumbs right against your chest, roll your shoulders back and down. And now we're just going to come into a little bit of a balance. If you're on a soft surface, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. See if you can go ahead and lift your heel up so that you are putting the arch of your foot on the side of your calf. Okay, and this might be where you want to grab onto a chair, or you keep your toe down on the floor. Okay, so we've got hopefully some balance with either the toe on the floor, or maybe we slid that foot up. I don't like it on the knee joint. Okay, I don't like you pressing on the knee because the knee has a little bit of movement side to side, but not a lot. So you want to be on the calf. Some of us might be able to get a little bit higher depending on how they feel and get into that high tree pose to come above the knee. Okay, so that is not required. Requirement is to balance on one foot, either with the toe down, on the calf, or maybe a little bit higher. Okay, I'm going to stay midway, so I'm good here. Now that we've got that, we're going to take our hands and we're just going to push them forward. Okay, so push your hands together so that they're almost like you could clap. Open them out, thumbs are up, and then turn your thumbs down and see if you can bring the backs of your hands together. And we're trying to balance the whole time. Inhale, turn the thumbs up, open out to the side, and then exhale, turn the thumbs down and bring the backs of the palms together. One more time, open it up, and then close it back down. Open all the way up, thumbs up, and then just see if you can keep the distance between your hands exactly the same and tip from your side. Hands are equal, and you're just tipping over to that right side. Bring it back up to neutral. Turn the thumbs down as much as you can, and then tip to the other side. Thumbs are down, and then tip. Finding that balance, we can tap down anytime we need to. We're just feeling our shoulders, coming all the way back up, and then letting it go. How'd we do? Oh my gosh, you're going to be feeling your shoulders for days, right? I hope you're feeling a lot of work here. This is what we wanted to do. So give it a shake out, give it a little, whatever you need to do, maybe a little dance out. If we had some music on, we could dance it out. So whatever is going on in your head, whatever music makes you happy, picture it, give it a little shake out, and then let it all go. We're going to do everything on the other side. So again, finding the weight on the other foot. We have our heel lifted on the right, and then we're just going to externally rotate out to the side. And we're going to connect the heel to the side of your ankle. Okay. We're going to inhale all the way up. Exhale down through the center. So just find some stability here. Pull in the belly. Use your back muscles to stabilize, stacking your shoulders on top of your hips and coming back down. We'll do that one more time. Big inhale, rising up. And exhale, come back down. All right. We're going to start with our hands down at the bottom. Turn your thumbs out. Give me some rotations here. Hands are rotating here. Okay. And then from here, we're just going to bring it only halfway up. switch the directions, and bring it back down, okay? Switch hand movements halfway up to shoulder height, and then switch the directions, bring it back down. We'll do that one more time. Inhale all the way up. And then exhale, bring it back down. All right, hands are just relaxed at your side. You're gonna take your right hand behind your right leg and just tip over. So just tip it. So before we had our hands over our head, now we're just tipping to the side, bring it back up. Your pinky on the left is just in line with your IT band. You're not touching your leg and you're just coming over. So we're coming up, inhale, exhale, reach your right hand behind your right leg as you tip, and then take your pinky on the left and slide it in the same direction as your IT band on the left. We'll do it one more time. This time, see if you can look to the floor to the right as you tip over and look down at that hand. Come back, look to the center, and then look at your pinky as you come down on the other side, and then come up. All right, inhale the hands all the way up. Bring the thumbs together and right against your chest. Find some balance here if you can by lifting the foot up onto your calf. And if you want to go a little bit higher, I'll go higher on the side just in case anyone wants to join me. But again, it's not on the knee. Okay? And once you're here, we'll allow our hands to push all the way out to the front. So we've got our hands together. And this time we're going to turn our palms towards one another with your thumbs down. Okay? And we're going to pull back past, a little bit past, puff up the chest. So your retraction, okay? So you're doing the retraction, turn the thumbs up, and then pull the chest into protraction. So now we're adding the shoulders. Inhale, pull the shoulder blades together, puff out the chest, and then exhale, turn the thumbs up, and then push. One more time. So again, we're going into that retraction and then into the protraction. Go ahead and come all the way out. Thumbs are down. We're going to keep those hands exactly as they are. You're going to try and tip to the left side. So bring that left hand down. Your thumbs are pointed down and you're just tipping. We did this with the thumbs up before. And then we're going to come back up. I find this one even more of a challenge for my balance when my thumbs are down with that little rotation through the front of the shoulders. And then over to the other side. Push your fingers out. It's almost as if they're a straight line. Coming over. Bring yourself back up. Relax those shoulders, relax those arms, relax those feet. Give it a little shake out. Oh. We are going to make our way back to the floor. Grab some water. Take your time. How's everyone doing today? Are we okay? Yes? All right. Almost there. Grabbing that water. And once we're down onto our backs, again, this can be supported with a strap or just with your body. We're just going to lengthen out those hamstrings a little bit. Again, no rotation through the hips. You're just going to catch the balls of your feet. And you can extend up into the sky. If you do not want to use your strap, you can hold onto the back of your knee. And we're just relaxing those shoulders, closing the eyes and just feeling the spine on your mat. So no more work for the abdominals, no more work for the shoulders, no more work for those hips. We're just allowing the blood from the feet because we did some balancing exercises. So instead of having all the blood pressed into our feet, into those toes, we now want all the blood rolling back into the body. So we should starting to feel all of the work that we did in the standing exercises start to release and come back into the body. If you would like a little bit more, you can always walk down. Knee can be bent. Don't worry about locking that knee. You can just walk your hands a little bit further down onto your calf and then guide your foot up in towards your body. And if you want to, you can also extend the other leg. So just walk the toes out a little bit so that your knee can get a little bit more straight. Or if you want, you can go ahead and lengthen it all the way out. That will be your hip flexor on the straightened leg. It will be definitely more of the hamstrings on the one up in the air. And really all I want you to do is start to get the blood pooling back into the body. So anyone who has had ankles that swell, especially after we've done a lot of walking in the heat. The body doesn't retains a little bit more water. It cools wherever gravity pulls it. And your feet are usually the lowest thing on the floor, on the ground. So anytime you get to have those legs up in the air, it's going to change the dynamics. It'll pull all of the fluid back into the body, and then the body is able to use it, distribute it, and flush it out. So again, if you want to rotate those ankles again, one last time, we did a lot of rotations for those shoulders and for the wrists. We're just evening it out. It was definitely a trifecta class with the hips, ankles, and shoulders. And then draw the other way. Again, this is fully relaxation. And then we can dorsiflex and point. If you have your other leg fully straightened like mine, just slide it back in. Take your ankle, whether you have the strap or not, you can release it off now and just place your ankle on your thigh. And we're just into a supine pigeon. You can just stay like this here with the figure 4 crossover. You can gently take the knee that's in the air and just gently open up the hip a little bit more by not a shove. It's not a push or anything. It's just a gentle guidance to allow that hip to open up, allow the piriformis to get a little bit more of a stretch. And if it feels right for you to thread through and grab onto the opposite hamstring. So we had the one leg up in the air. Now we're going in, holding onto the back of the leg that wasn't in the air and just pulling into our chest and just allowing gravity to do its thing to open up through the piriformis in the hip. If you have a little bit more flexibility like myself, I can reach onto my shin and hold onto the shin. And some of us might actually be able to go over top, hold onto the knee and pull the knee in. And that will give you that's if you have the greatest range of motion, pulling onto the knee and then pulling in this way. So again, foot on the floor, hand on the hamstring, hand on the shin, or hand on the knee. You've got lots of options here as you're stretching out your hip. Relax your jaw, relax your eyes, because we're now getting into the more relaxed meditative state. So again, you're just allowing your thoughts to come back into your body. If this is feeling really good on this side, stay with this one. You don't have to move on. Sometimes you know which side of your body needs it. And if you don't really know which side of your body needs it, we are going to switch to the other side now. So just go ahead and unwind out and let the supporting foot come back to the ground. Unhook here, place that foot down. You can use your strap or you can just pull your knee into the chest. And then slowly get those hands behind your knee or hold up with the ball of the feet with your towel, with your strap, with whatever you need to use. Again, once we have the leg up in the air and we're starting to feel the blood draining, that's where we can start to walk down a little bit more. Keep a slight bend in the knee. We don't need to lock it. And just guide it a little bit closer to your body, towards your forehead. And again, we have that choice to either walk the toe heel down a little bit just to start to feel the lengthening in the hip flexor. And if we have the ability to go all the way out, you can feel free to join me. And then we're drawing those circles one last time with the toe in the air. So big circles here, getting the ankle to start movements, flushing out that joint by drawing those circles and then changing the direction. We'll go into dorsiflexion, so flex and point. If you have your hands on your calf, you can really feel when you dorsiflex, the shin muscles kick in, and then your calves kick in when you point. And you do that extension. And once we've done that a few times, if your back leg or the leg is outstretched completely, you can go ahead and bring it back in. You're crossing the ankle of the foot that's in the air over the thigh. And then again, it's just a gentle guidance, opening the hip. If this is where you're feeling it the most and you just want to put your hand there for a little bit of pressure and stay right here, the hip feels good, it's supported, and you don't want to go further, amazing. If you feel like you need to, go ahead and pull the opposite knee in, holding onto the hamstrings, maybe coming onto the shin, maybe coming over on top to the knee. Again, you put your hand placement where you're getting that nice stretch through the hip. Your back is supported. We're not putting unnecessary pressure on the spine. We're closing our eyes. We're letting our lips part. We're softening our gaze. We're thinking about the parts of the body that we did some work on today. We're just staying right here, present in the moment. Big, deep inhales, pulling all the air in through the diaphragm. And then exhale, letting it go. And again, knowing that if we want to stay on this side a little bit longer, we totally can. If we want to go back to the other side, absolutely. If we want to start to bring ourselves down really into our corpse pose or our shavasana, we're just going to start to release the feet, the supporting foot back onto the ground, unhook the other one. We're going to start off the same way that we ended the class. We can take our knees and just touch them together and walk the feet out to the side. That'll give you a little bit more support for the spine. Or if you'd like to extend your legs out completely, let the feet fall in an external rotation. Again, we did that with the internal and external rotation sitting up. This now is if you're able to extend both of those legs out in your corpse pose, walk the feet just a little bit wider than your hips. And then we're going to allow the feet to come into dorsiflexion. So you've got a flexed heel. Turn the feet in both together so that the toes come towards one another. And then let them fall out to the side. So just a couple of these. If you have your knees bent, don't worry about it. You're just keeping your knees bent and supporting your back, but you can internally rotate and then externally let the feet fall out. One more time, bring the toes together if you're in corpse pose, fully lying on your back. And then let the feet fall out to the side. Your palms can face up or down. You can have them out to the side, cactus arms over your head. You're taking a nice deep breath in. And we'll let it go with the full breath. 2 more times. Big inhale. Really force the air out. 1 more time. Big energizing breath. Big forceful exhale. Your next one is going to be the calming one. Inhale. Exhale with the S sound or through the nose. Two more times. Big inhale. Slowly exhales. One more time, fill the lungs in as much as you can. Maybe even pause for a moment with the fullest inhale, with the full expansion. And then when you're ready, let it slowly escape as slowly as you can, letting it come out of the lungs. And then once you've released all the air from the lungs, just go back to regular breath. We'll do our little body scan here. So again, thinking about your fingers and your wrists and those shoulders. Oh my gosh, all of the work that we did today and getting those to move around. You need to move any of them to give them any of the residual energy left. Maybe just do a couple of rolls of the wrist, a wiggle of the fingers, a shimmy of the shoulders, and then let it relax. Again, a little side to side rock on the head, just making sure that the shoulders and the neck, the connective tissues through your scalings, left scap, all of the stuff that helps you keep your head stable and upright on top of your shoulders. Just give it a little rock and then let your head naturally fall where it wants. Bring that awareness into the core of your body, both the front, back, and the sides. So we did a lot of seated work, just using our erectors and our erectus abdominis to keep us seated straight. And then we did a little side bending and some twists. So we got that full core going on. Just allow yourself to take a deep breath in and then relax erectors, rectus abdominis, side obliques. Those hips did some serious work today, especially in our supine position, lying on our back in a bridge. If we need to, we can squeeze one butt cheek. So activating just your one butt cheek, and it's going to lift up one side of your body as you squeeze your butt on one side and then let it go. And then you can lift up the other hip by squeezing the butt cheek on the other side, and that lifts up the hip. And if you want to go ahead and squeeze both butt cheeks and lift both hips up, it's not a big movement. You're just squeezing your butt cheeks together. And then once you squeeze, let them go. And that should release any of the tension that you might have had in the glutes, hamstrings, in those hips. Then if you have your legs outstretched, you can do a little wiggle of the toes, a little movement at the ankle, maybe a little shimmy, whatever you need to do in that lower part of your body to get any residual energy out. And then just let your body relax. Follow the breath in through the nose. Follow the air out of the lungs. I'm just going to stay here in this silence, doing your own personal scan, checking in with your face to make sure the lips have parted, to make sure the eyes have softened, and then targeting any part of your body that you yourself know that you tend to have tension in. And the wonderful thing about being in the privacy of your own home is if you need a little longer in Shavasana, you can stay here. And this is the thing about meditation. I can be talking, things are going to be going around on in the world. There are going to be noises around you. There's going to be activities. And the true state of meditation is when these things are going on around you and you're able just to stay within the confines of your own mind, within your own body, and you're just not able to, or you shouldn't. These are words that I don't even like to use, these shouldn'ts and all these things. It's not about that. It's about allowing those movements that are happening around you, the things that are going around can go on. You can't control them. You can't stop them. And it's not about trying to void yourself of all thought. It's about trying not to judge those things. And that's the true part of meditation, where you're just being here, accepting what's going on, knowing that there's things going on around you, and you're just okay with that. And the thing that you can control is your thoughts and where they go and how we judge. And if we just go, that was a noise. That is something that's going on next door. That is something that's going to happen in the future. I don't need to think about it. That is where meditation is. And then the best way to do it is then to focus in on your body, your breath, a muscle, a thing that you need to relax. And that'll take you away from all those thoughts about all the external things that are going on in the world. all the things that you don't need to focus on, all the things that pull your energy, that deplete you from focusing inward and realizing what you really need. So again, if you need to stay in your shavasana, don't worry about what I'm saying. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just stay here. You can notice my voice. You can hear what I'm saying. You just don't have to judge it. You don't have to worry that you should be doing something else. You just do you. You just be you and you just focus in on what you need. But if you do know that you need to get moving, you can start to make those little movements with the fingers and the toes and the wrists and the ankles. If your legs are outstretched, you can most definitely start to slide one of those heels towards your body, followed by the other one. If your hands are in a position that you can get them out to cactus arms or slide them all the way out to the sides, and then just maybe do a couple little windshield wipes with those knees side to side. Then you can choose a side to completely roll onto so that you can use that bottom arm maybe as the pillow for your head. And that top hand just comes and floats in front of your body. Again, if you need to stay in sideline posture for a little bit, noticing how the blood changes now that we've been off of our back and we've started to move on to our side, stay here a little longer. And if you want to go ahead and sit yourself up, slowly make your way back up to seated. And if we want to keep our eyes closed for just a moment longer, if they popped open, that's all good. We're just taking those shoulders, we're rolling them up, back, and down, sitting up nice and tall, taking a deep breath in, rising those hands all the way up into the sky, maybe looking towards the ceiling, then bringing the chin to the chest and bringing those hands down. We'll do that one more time. Big inhale, big rise up all the way up. Let the hands just come resting into your lap. Let your head stack over your shoulders. Thank you everyone for your practice today. I hope we enjoyed some of that work. I think the recording will be available. So if you ever want to come back to it and try some of that shoulder stuff again, of course, you'll have access to it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I can stick around for a little while longer. If not, have a wonderful Saturday. I'm going to just stop this recording now. And then if you want to make any comments, if you have any suggestions for me, totally would love to hear.